Muskan Vaishnav and our today's class of class 6 chapter 2nd components of food part 1st. In this chapter we cover all important topics related to components of food, and the topics are food, components of food and the components of food which we will learn one by one. The first one is carbohydrate, second protein, third fats, fourth vitamins, fifth minerals, sixth water, and last one is dietary fibers. And our next topic, deficiency diseases, and last one is balanced diet. So let's start our first topic, which is food. In our previous chapter, we studied in details about food. That what is food, what are the functions of food, what are the sources of food. But a part of these topics, there are a lot of things that we have to study in food, and which is components of food. Now I remind you that what is food and what are the functions of food. And the definition of food is any substance consumed to provide nutritional support to organism. फूड हम उन सभी सब्सटेंस को कहते हैं जो कि कंज्यूम किए जाते हैं किसी भी बॉडी को न्यूट्रिशनल सपोर्ट प्रोवाइड करवाने के लिए. इट इज यूजुअली प्लांट और एनिमल ओरिजिन. वी ऑब्टेन फूड फ्रॉम what? From plants and animals. It contains many essential nutrients that are needed by our body. There are many nutrients present in our food, which is proteins, vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, etc. And these nutrients are very necessary for our healthy and good body. And there are two types of nutrients are present. First one is macronutrients and second one is micronutrients. Then what is macronutrients? Those nutrients that the body needs in large amounts. The nutrients which is present in our food and those nutrients which our body needs in large amount. And the examples of macronutrients are proteins, carbohydrates, fats, etc. Second one is micronutrients. Those nutrients that the body needs in smaller quantity. And the examples of micronutrients are vitamins, dietary fibers, etc. Okay, then these are the types of nutrients. Now we recall about the functions of food. These are the major functions of food. And the first one is health and maintenance of body. As we already know that there are many nutrients present in our food, which is very important for our health and maintenance of body. Second one is for growth and development. Our body's growth and development is totally depend on our food. That what kind of food we consume. अगर हम एक हेल्दी डाइट को कंज्यूम करते हैं तब जो हमारी बॉडी की ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट है वो एक प्रॉपर वे में होती है, और अगर हम अनहेल्दी डाइट को कंज्यूम करते हैं तब जो हमारी बॉडी की ग्रोथ एंड डेवलपमेंट है वो एक प्रॉपर वे में नहीं होगी. नेक्स्ट वन इज helps in body building. Food is also helpful in body building. Let's take an example. When a child is small, then we feed them with milk, and when he grows, then we provide them such type of food in which all kinds of nutrients are present. तो इससे हमें क्या ऑब्जर्व होता है कि जब एक चाइल्ड स्मॉल होता है, छोटा होता है, तब उसको ऐसे न्यूट्रिएंट्स की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है जो कि उनकी बोन्स एंड उनकी मसल को स्ट्रेंथ प्रोवाइड करवाए, और जब वो ग्रो करता है तब उसको उन सभी न्यूट्रिएंट्स की रिक्वायरमेंट होती है जो कि एक फूड के अंदर प्रेजेंट होते हैं. इन सच अ वे फूड इज हेल्पफुल इन बॉडी बिल्डिंग. नेक्स्ट वन इज physical and mental development. As we discussed about that, food is helpful in our physical development and food is also helpful in our mental development. A healthy diet keeps our brain sharp and active. Next one is provides energy. In our daily life, we perform many activities and all these activities require energy, and this energy we obtain from our food. Next one is reduce risk of some diseases. As we know that in our environment, many microorganisms such as bacteria, viruses are present, and when they enter in our body, then they affect our health. When we take healthy diet, then the risk of disease is reduced and our immune system of body is increases. Now we come on our main topic of this chapter, which is components of food. The main components of foods are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, water and dietary fibers, and these are known as nutrients. Now we study about these components of food one by one with details, and our first component of food is carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are energy giving food because the main source of energy is carbohydrate. It provides a lot of energy to our body. Carbohydrates are made up of carbon, oxygen and hydrogen. Starch and sugar are the forms of carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is present in our food in the form of starch and sugar. Functions of carbohydrates. The first function is provide energy to our body and brain. As we discuss about that, carbohydrates are energy giving foods. Second one is it prevents the breakdown of proteins for energy. जो कार्बोहाइड्रेट होता है वो प्रोटीन को एनर्जी के लिए ब्रेक होने से प्रिवेंट करता है, क्योंकि जो मेन सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी का है हमारी बॉडी में वो कौन है? कार्बोहाइड्रेट. थर्ड वन इज इट ऑल्सो हेल्प विथ फैट मेटाबॉलिज्म. If we have a sufficient amount of energy which fulfill our immediate requirement, then the extra amount of carbohydrate is converted into fat. The last one is it provides sweetness to foods. As we know that fruits are sweet in taste and this sweetness is come from carbohydrate. Now let's look on the sources of carbohydrates. As we know that carbohydrate present in the form of starch and sugar in our food. There is one more form of carbohydrate which is cellulose, and cellulose is present in the cell wall of plants. This cellulose does not digested by human beings, but it is digested by grass eating animals. The sources of starch are rice, peas, corn, banana, chapati, potato, beans, etc. And the sources for sugar are honey, jaggery, sugar, glucose, resins, etc. Grains are the most concentrated source of carbohydrate. जो grains होते हैं जैसे कि wheat, rice, barley, millet, इन सभी के अंदर जो कार्बोहाइड्रेट की जो अमाउंट होती है वो सबसे ज्यादा होती है. The highly recommended carbohydrate foods are unprocessed foods, and the unprocessed foods are fruits, juice, grains and raw vegetables. These are the unprocessed foods, and in these foods the amount of carbohydrate is present in large. That's why they are highly recommended. Now we perform a test for the confirmation of starch that is present in our food or not. For this test, take a test tube and add few iodine crystals. हमें एक टेस्ट ट्यूब लेनी है और उसके अंदर कुछ आयोडीन क्रिस्टल्स को ऐड करना है. Dilute it with water till it becomes yellow. अब हमें क्या करना है? उन आयोडीन क्रिस्टल्स के अंदर वाटर को ऐड करना है and make the solution dilute till it becomes yellow or brown. Take a sample of food item. अब हमें एक ऐसे फूड आइटम का सैंपल लेना है जिसके अंदर हमें जो स्टार्च की जो प्रेजेंस है उसको कंफर्म करना है. Add a few drops of dilute iodine solution to the sample. अब हमें इस सैंपल के अंदर जो हमने डाइल्यूट आयोडीन सॉल्यूशन प्रिपेयर किया था उसको ऐड करना है. Now observe the sample and our observation is become, if the substance turns dark blue or black, it contains starch. अगर जो हमारा सैंपल है वो डार्क ब्लू या फिर ब्लैक में कन्वर्ट हो जाता है, that means it contains starch. Now our confirmation test for starch is completed. Now we study about our second component of food, which is protein. Proteins are large complex molecules that our body cells need to function properly. In our body, many processes are occur and all these processes require protein to function properly. In the absence of carbohydrates and fats, protein can release energy. When our body does not receive any energy from carbohydrates or fats, then in this situation, proteins can release energy. Sources of proteins. Foods proteins are often called body building foods. वो foods जिसके अंदर प्रोटीन प्रेजेंट होते हैं हम उनको कहते हैं बॉडी बिल्डिंग फूड्स. The sources of proteins are seafood, milk, cheese, beans, pulses, meat, eggs, soyabean, etc. All these are the sources of proteins. And the functions of proteins are, the first one is our body uses protein to build and repair tissues. If our body get injured by any accident, then protein helps to build and repair. It is used to make enzymes, hormones and other body chemicals. In our body, many chemicals are present. For example, enzymes and hormones. And for these chemicals, proteins are very important. It is essential to building bones and body tissues. Proteins are also helpful in building bones and body tissues. And the fourth one is, it is an important component of every cell in the body. In our body, trillion of cells are present and the important component of these cells are proteins. Now we perform a test for the confirmation of protein in our food. And for this test, take a small quantity of food item for testing. And if our food item is in solid form, then grind the food item and powder it. Put the food item into a test tube and add 10 drops of water into the same test tube. Add 2 drops of copper sulfate solution and add 10 drops of caustic soda solution and shake the test tube. The caustic soda solution is NaOH, that means sodium hydroxide. Now observe the test tube. If our food item is converted into violet color, then the violet color indicates the presence of protein. And with this test, our part first of second chapter is now completed. Thank you.